busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rusting, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a major video in regards to the Boruto manga. So for anime fans, this is the time of month where we talk a lot of spoiler content. So if you're not caught up, I highly recommend clicking off of the video. There's tons of non-spoiler content that is on this channel. I highly recommend looking through the actual playlist on the channel because everything is separated in a very detailed manner. 65% of the actual channel is spoiler free, so go through the playlist and look for non-spoiler content. But with that being said, let's jump right into the actual discussion right here. So we have major news based off of what's going to be taking place in Boruto chapter 62, and I think that this is the moment that a lot of people have kind of been waiting for, which is essentially based on this news right here. This is going to be that final moment of quote-unquote maintenance before everything goes full throttle in this arc, and I think that this is something that a lot of people are going to be excited about. So at the end of the last chapter, at chapter 61, we knew that Code was in pursuit of Kawaki, and I've seen a lot of people getting really excited about the possibility of there being a full-blown brawl. And I said very specifically when I gave my prediction about, hey, I think that you're probably going to get that time skip once you get to Jump Festa. The closer you are to Jump Festa in December, the more likely you are to actually get it. And I said that, hey, you know, fights in Boruto typically follow the same pattern. So if a battle breaks out in October, it's probably going to wrap up in December. And then on the back end of that December chapter, that's when you're going to have that actual time skip more than likely start. Well, the chapter coming up is going to be in September. So it looks like what I said is likely to happen is what's going to take place, because based on this stuff we have right here, which thanks to Organic Dinosaur for translating this information, but on the back page of the V-Jump magazine, it says for Boruto chapter 62 that Kawaki and Code are finally confronting one another, standing face to face. What will Boruto do at that moment? End quote. So that right there, that's huge, because that tells us one thing right there that a lot of people wanted to see, which is we're finally going to get a confrontation. However, I'm going to say what I've said for a while. I said that this arc was giving me major vibes of the Search For Tsunade Arc. I actually replied to some of you guys in the comment section and said that if we were charting Boruto in progression to where Naruto was, this was more so a few months ago in volumes 17 and 18. Those are the volumes for the Search For Tsunade Arc, and if you'll recall, Search For Tsunade Arc was not something filled with a lot of action. That arc is roughly 40 to 45 chapters, and out of those 40 to 45 chapters, you're talking about 85% of that arc basically being setup chapters, with the ending of the actual arc being where you have this huge throwdown between the actual legendary signing at the actual end. Over the course of that 40 something chapters, you had more build up and more characterization for the actual characters, more layers being added. You see more of the actual personalities, you get more background context before you got to the actual battle that threw down at the end of the actual arc. You're seeing a condensed version of that here, to where Kishimoto's basically taken the last two manga volumes of the Boruto manga and has taken that time to actually set things up and lay the foundation for what looks like it's going to be an actual skirmish that is actually coming up right here. But in my opinion, it's something that's actually needed, because when you look at what the animes had to do when it comes to adapting stuff from the manga, the animes had to bend over backwards and give you setup to actually make you care about why Boruto's fighting Shojoji, actually make you actually have some understanding about why Victor is working for the Car organization, to actually give you setup for the fact that there's a traitor in the Car organization. That was all stuff that in the manga, outside of one or two panels, was like, oh, are they trying to imply this? There was no real setup for it. That's why the anime had to connect the dots in order to make everything flow together perfectly. And that's why you can make the argument that the anime's telling of the actual story has been superior to the manga, because the anime is more detailed. But the reason why it's easier for you to swallow is because the anime moves at a weekly pace. When it comes to the actual manga, because of what we have with the mangaka, we are getting the story once a month, but we're also getting 2 chapters worth of material during that time. If you read weekly manga, a lot of people are saying like, oh, the story moves a lot faster in weekly manga and it doesn't drag on as long even when they do stuff on setup. It's because you're getting twice as much story with those weekly manga than you are with an actual Boruto manga chapter. Now granted, weekly mangaka have a lot more staff than Kishimoto. Kishimoto has a small number of staff, and honestly, to his credit, he's actually got less staff than what you have with other monthly mangaka, because other mangaka will have people that work specifically on the backgrounds. Kishimoto, that's his specialty as an artist, is drawing backgrounds. The fact is that Kishimoto is the one drawing his own backgrounds. That's something he said in the past, so he's not got the same staff level, so that part does need to be said. However, the fact is that waiting an entire month for 2 weeks worth of actual story, it has a lot of fans feeling very, very antsy. And I can say, just based on what we actually have off of this right here, it does look like all the setup has been building towards this right here. And if we were to compare this to the Search For Tsunade arc, essentially Kawaki meeting Code really feels like that's that moment where Tsunade went up to Orochimaru and said that I'm not going to take your actual offer, and that's when all hell went to hell in a handbasket. I think you're at that same point here. I know it's very easy to say that this is a Sasuke Retrieval arc type of a thing. That's because of the similarity of Kawaki leaving the actual village, but when you look at the actual pacing, this is more so of what you have with Search For Tsunade, not necessarily the Sasuke Retrieval arc. But with that being said, I am going to say what I told you guys last November when it was announced that Kishimoto was coming back. I said, hey, Kishimoto is a far more detailed writer than Kodachi is, and you're going to be in a situation where Kishimoto is going to be trolling. He's going to have his weird humor that's going to be mixed into the actual chapters, which has been confirmed when you look at the fact that his deranged kanji is all over the manga now. Viz Media cleans up quite a bit, but Kishimoto's deranged kanji is all over the manga now. The fact that we're getting all of this setup, that's in line with what Kishimoto's done in the past. Yes, he writes at a fast pace, but when he goes for setup, he goes for setup. We're just getting a condensed version of setup, but it was not uncommon for the Naruto manga to sit there and, like with that Search For Tsunade arc, to spend 20 to 40 chapters of actual setup, and you only have skirmishes here or there. Obviously, for a monthly manga, you're not going to get, say, 20 straight months of overall setup, but for Kishimoto to take 2 manga volumes to actually build up towards what you're getting right now, that's not crazy. That's not out of character for this actual writer right here. I warned you guys, like, hey, expect Kishimoto to troll, expect Kishimoto's humor to come back in, and expect the actual detail to be a lot better in terms of fleshing things out and having more setup. And that's exactly what we've been getting. The characters have a little bit more layers to them. You know more about the character of Ada in the actual manga than you knew about the other car members that were introduced before that. It's because of the actual writing. The same thing with the character of Code. You know more about Code under Kishimoto than you did it with any of the other villains that were introduced in the Boruto manga before this. We're having a slow build up and the stakes are being raised at this point. I think all this is par for the course for Masashi Kishimoto. I just think that because of this being a monthly manga, and because of the fact that this manga only gives you 2 chapters worth of material that you have to wait an entire month for, that's just an issue that people have a lot of problem with. However, I want to know how you guys feel about this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.